Let's go meet a robot that wants to live with your family.
This is Camilla, the head of product, and Tony, the CEO of Sunday Robotics. And today, they just announced that they raised a $165 million Series B led by Code2 at a $1.15 billion valuation. Memo is designed to handle everyday chores like clearing tables, loading dishwashers, and folding laundry, so they can operate in real homes with real messes and real people around. Instead of programming every single movement by hand, Memo learns by watching people mimic these chores in homes. So we're heading inside their lab to see how Memo works, how it learns, and whether this approach could finally make home robots more practical.
The company was co-founded by Tony Zhao and Cheng Chi, two Stanford PhD researchers. Tony previously worked at Google DeepMind and Tesla's autopilot team and co-invented Aloha. Cheng worked at Apple and Toyota Research Institute and developed the diffusion policy framework that allowed robots to learn from human demonstrations. Together, they dropped out of their Stanford programs in mid-2024 and began building in a garage, running 3D printers around the clock. And in 18 months, they assembled an all-star team of engineers and researchers from Stanford, Tesla, Waymo, Meta, and Neuralink. What is this area called?
Macro data refinement.
Macro data refinement. Hi, I'm Claire. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Hey Memo, our friend Claire is here.
Hi Clara, I'm Memo. Welcome to Sunday.
Wow. Hi, Memo.
Memo, can you relax?
I'm now in gravity compensation mode. You can try moving my arms to feel how safe and easy it is.
Can I try doing that?
Yes, of course.
Oh, it's actually really smooth. It is pretty heavy though.
It is heavy. Let me ask this personal question. Memo, how heavy you are?
I weigh 170 pounds total, with my base weighing 133 pounds to keep me from tipping over. You can even try pushing my chest to see if I stay stable.
Am I allowed to push it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's inviting you to push.
It's actually super stable, and you'll notice that one of the key design choices they've made is that unlike the bipedal walking systems you'll often see from other humanoids, Memo has wheels, and it's a very deliberate engineering trade-off.
The way we think about safety of Memo is what we call it passively safe. When the robot, let's say, is like fully stretched out like this, and let's say we immediately cut the power as this worst case. The robot will not be tipping over and it will just like, the hands will just go down. And this is a very hard claim to make about any bipedal robots. You need to be actively balancing yourself to stay upright. But for a wheel platform, it's a lot easier. Memo, can you go make a cup of coffee?
It's almost 2 p.m. Just confirming. Would you like me to go ahead and make that coffee now?
Yes, me too.
Got it. I'll get that coffee started for you.
Seen demos where it's sped up, but right now it's moving quite slowly. Is that for mostly safety purposes?
Yes. So I would say the wheels can actually move dangerously fast. We artificially limit the speed in the software, so that it's actually fairly safe.
One of our assumptions is that because you'll be able to tell Memo when you want something done by, and it's not your own time you're investing into the task, speed shouldn't really matter to you because you can run 24/7, and we should prioritize quality and safety as the completion of the task.
For this specific task, say I have a completely different coffee machine. How does it know what to do?
So the idea is after we deploy this task to our 5,000 or a few thousand, 500 or a few thousand of these memory developers, they will each have a slightly different way to make coffee in their home. And once our neural network has seen enough of ways to make coffee, it will be able to generalize to a new coffee machine when you see that. So here, click twice, and now it's retrying.
Stop the coffee task for now. If you'd like me to continue or do something else, just let me know.
Try cleaning up the table.
I'm on it. Cleaning the table right now.
In case you're wondering, Memo is not currently available for purchase. They're going to start putting Memo in households later this year, and they recently opened up their founding family beta. During the beta period, they'll test whether Memo can actually handle the chaos of real family life. As simple as clearing a table looks, this is actually kind of a nightmare scenario in robotics. It requires long horizon reasoning, a lot of dexterity, and force sensitivity. Note here that Memo can hold 2 wine glasses in one hand without breaking them. This is actually really difficult because wine glasses are transparent, which is hard for computer vision, reflective, so it creates false readings, and fragile, meaning that there is zero margin for error. and not to mention very oddly shaped. It's even able to remember to throw out any liquids or waste before putting things in the dishwasher. In the process of going from table to dishwasher, Memo autonomously navigates over 130 feet, performs 33 unique interactions with 21 different objects. And to put this into perspective, most robot demos focus on single-step tasks like move this here or pick this up. This demo involves dozens of decisions like which plate to grab first, how to scrape food waste, where each item belongs in the dishwasher, even how to maximize space in there.
If you think about the task, when you're grasping 2 wine glasses with one hand, if you apply a little bit too much force, you're going to break both of them. And where you're trying to load it into the dishwasher, you need to kind of see where kind of the opening of the wine glass is landing at, and it's a transparent object. It's actually very hard to perceive. And another, also like if you apply the wrong amount of force, you're like, really pushing down, it's gonna break the whole glass. So it's a very delicate balance of precision, and also both in terms of the trajectory, the position, and in terms of the force profile of the robot. What Alper will show next is this sock loading task. That is also the first time any robot can do this task. Alper, do you want to start?
I think this is true for many other things. So we'll start with the exciting part, but not painful like socks.
Sure thing. Unfolding your sock.
This is another deceptively complicated task. Socks are what roboticists call deformable objects. They change shape when you touch them. So unlike a plate or a cup, socks don't have a consistent geometry. There aren't any rigid landmarks, and the toe and the heel of a sock basically look identical when crumpled up. For a robot to visually recognize it, it's basically a shapeless fabric blob. And not to mention, folding it requires just enough tension to smooth out and stretch it, but also enough force to fold it back into a ball. All of this while synchronizing different actions at a millimeter level in different arms.
So what you saw, which is like just a folding part, I think about 50 hours of diverse sock folding.
Okay.
This model can do a little bit more than that, so we're about to see some of it.
This specific motion is actually what the team calls thumbing, which is really complex because Memo doesn't have a thumb in the human sense. So it has to achieve thumb-like manipulation of the sock without an opposable thumb using just pincers and grippers. And that force control precision, which is how it knows exactly how hard to compress the fabric without damaging it, is the exact same capability that lets Memo handle unexpected changes. You can see here the exact moment that Memo is able to adapt after Tony pulls the sock away from it. If this were pre-scripted, the whole sequence would actually break. Instead, Memo is able to continuously perceive and replan every fraction of a second.
So the difficult part is like just being able to learn all these edge cases that might pop up.
I think people don't need to be scared of the form factor of the robot or what it can do, because while it can generalize knowledge to new environments, it doesn't like emerge random behaviors that are not in the data.
There's multiple layers of software and hardware safety. So if you think about, I think on the hardware side, we talk about being passively safe. We talk about the robot is actually compliant. That's if you hit it, like the elbows will tuck in, right? So these are like very basic safety features. And then is the behavior of the robot. What will the robot do, right? Whether the actions are safe. So the best way we can ensure that level of safety is just through very, very high quality data that we supervises the robot through the data it ingests. And as long as we keep the data set safe, we can have the robot exhibit safe behavior. For example, we're never going to train the robot to like throw a plate around, right? Yeah. If one of our memory developer does it, we're not going to like train on that data. Right now they can run for around 4 hours.
4 hours.
It's actually like battery life is something quite simple to address for us.
Okay.
So if we want to be like even larger, we can just put a larger battery at the base. We're also still playing around with different ideas here, whether it should have a charging dock or Memo should just plug itself into an outlet.
Plug itself into an outlet. Okay.
By now it has a hand, right?
Yeah.
So we're still playing around with all these ideas.
I feel like he's been in a Sisyphus, like endless sock loop.
The worst thing I can imagine is that if you look at the robot and look at his eyes, you see like 2 cameras watching. And that's just a kind of a creepy feature that I'm super excited about. So what we do instead is we hide a lot of these sensors, including a camera and microphones, underneath the brim of the robot hat. So the eyes are actually purely decorative.
You can in fact even customize and accessorize Memo in different hats and hairstyles. One of the most interesting parts about Sunday Robotics is their skill capture gloves. Most robotics companies start with building a robot and then figure out how to train it through teleoperation. Instead, Sunday wanted to start with the data collection problem of how you gather millions of manipulation demonstrations from real homes without having to deploy thousands of robots and expensive teleoperation rigs. So they landed on these gloves and shipped over 2,000 of these to what they call memory developers, people who get paid to perform household tasks while wearing gloves. In fact, the gloves were designed first before Memo the robot even existed. This means that every demonstration from a memory developer wearing this glove can be directly translated into movements that Memo can execute. So far, they've already collected over 10 million episodes of household routines this way from over 500 real homes with different layouts.
My fingers are 2. What should I do first?
Do you feel the button in your thumb?
Yes, on the side.
Okay, yeah. So this button in your thumb fingers would be how you start recording.
Okay, so I would click on the side, there's a little button,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would pull open. How does it know how much tension or strength to use to, for example, do this action?
So inside the glove, we actually embedded a few force sensors.
Okay.
So we actually record how much force you apply.
And then being a memory developer is kind of like being a dancer. You have to follow a very smooth, fluid choreography. So
Okay.
what you're doing would be very bad data. You're starting and stopping, and the robot won't learn when the beginning and end of a task is, for example.
Okay, interesting. So in order for me to perfect the art of being a memory developer, do I have to try do multiple iterations of the same task over and over again? And I say, this is the start, I pull a drawer.
Yeah. And then in that case, you'd probably want to discard that recording because on first attempts you hit the handle before you grasped it. And we want to deliver perfect technology driven experience. So mistakes that humans make, first of all, they sound different because it's a hardware, it's not skin and flesh.
Yeah.
But also people will probably have a higher standard for robots than humans.
Yes.
For example, right now, we're currently teaching the robot how to fold t-shirts. So what I would go ahead and do is just go ahead and select the task, and then it'll break it down by every single person who's collecting data for us.
Interesting.
And then we can go ahead and take a look at all of their executions on the left. So every single one of these executions is one episode that they collected, and every episode they collected is one t-shirt that they folded.
Wow.
And so also on this, we have everything from all of their angles. So the glove specifically has 2 different cameras on the bottom and top, which we can see. So this is the left glove, the right glove, what they see, as well as the headset hub camera.
This is where we made all the gloves and all the robots.
Cool.
Again, factory is a product. We really care about all the details here. Right.
Wow.
4 components here. This, 6 of the desks are for building gloves. And this part is where we sit. And this is where we build the robots. And right here we have a print farm that produces the parts for either for the robots or for the gloves. Building anything at scale, especially distributed in the real world, is really difficult because what we realize is that all the things that can go wrong will go wrong. People's hands are sweaty, we have gloves melting in the box that we ship because we're shipping to Arizona or something. Sometimes we have 2 cameras on the glove and they're plugged in the opposite way, and now our data is poisonous.
It's also hard to balance, you want the data to have more sensors or more information, so you release a new version quickly, but you didn't do enough reliability or UX testing, or the ergonomics of the glove change very slightly, but when someone's doing hours of the same motion repetitively, even tiny changes will impact the comfort of the glove a lot.
So the most important sensor are these cameras that you can see. There's one camera on the top and one camera underneath your hand. So these are for basically robot's eyes. The idea here is that these days we use our hands through a lot of these tactile movements that we can feel things. But right now there doesn't exist a tactile sensor that is both cheap and reliable and high sensitivity. So it means that we kind of need to complement the sensorization of the hand, because like without being able to put skin on the robot.
Yeah.
So this is what these cameras are for, and so we can see the object that the hand is manipulating like very closely, and that helps a lot in like making memo learn faster, as opposed to only having eyes at the top of your.
One of the top questions I get every time I cover robotics is, when can I finally have a robot that does my chores? It's exciting to see Sunday Robotics actually trying to turn that answer from someday into soon by building a robot designed to be an appliance that works in real homes and not just fancy demos or lab environments. A huge thank you to the Sunday team for having me and showing me the whole operation. I can't wait to see what's next.